Welcome to Heidelberg. This historic and charming city along the Neckar River is located in the southwestern part of Germany, about 78 kilometers or 48 miles south of Frankfurt. On this walking tour through the Altstadt, the Old Town, we'll explore some historic buildings and city squares, Germany's oldest university with a very unique old student prison, the red sandstone ruins of the famous Heidelberg Castle with the world's largest wine barrel, the old bridge, and we'll grab a good German beer at a restaurant from the early 1700s before walking through an iconic alley. For those of you that don't know me yet, my name is Chris and I've worked in the travel industry for over 14 years. While I currently live in Southern California, I was actually born and raised in the Heidelberg region, which is why the city is very near and dear to my heart. For those of you that want to go on this walking tour, I recommend downloading the digital walking tour guide on my website triptipswithchris.com/shop for a small fee. It provides detailed information and will help you navigate the city. And with that, let's go ahead and start the tour. We are kicking things off at the Bismarckplatz, one of the main city squares of Heidelberg and a public transportation hub. If you arrive by train at the main train station Heidelberg, you can either walk here, which takes about 25 minutes, or hop onto a tram to get here in less than 10 minutes. If you're visiting during the holidays, you'll be able to enjoy the Heidelberg Christmas market, which takes place throughout the Altstadt, the Old Town, starting here at the Bismarckplatz. I'll point out the other main areas of the Christmas market throughout the tour. We cross the street and get to the western end of the Hauptstraße, the main street in the pedestrian zone of the historical Old Town. There are plenty of shops, cafes, and restaurants along this mile-long street, and you'll see many older buildings. Now let me briefly talk about the history of Heidelberg, which will be helpful for context when I talk about some of the buildings and historical places we'll see on this tour. The history of Heidelberg goes way back. The so-called Heidelberg man died near Heidelberg somewhere between 700,000 to 200,000 years ago, and after his jawbone was discovered in 1907, scientists determined that his remains are the earliest evidence of human life in Europe. In the 5th century BC, a Celtic fortress of refuge and place of worship were built on the Heiligenberg, the Holy Mountain, a large hill overlooking Heidelberg. In 40 AD, a fort was built and occupied by the Roman Empire, and they eventually built more camps, a signal tower on the bank of the Neckar River, and a wooden bridge across it. The camp protected the first civilian settlements, and it was captured by Germanic tribes in around 260 AD. Modern Heidelberg had its beginnings in the 5th century. The village Bergheim, or mountain home, is first mentioned for that period in documents dated 769 AD. Bergheim now lies in the middle of modern Heidelberg. The first mention of Heidelberg itself was found in a document in a nearby abbey dating back to 1196, which is considered the town's founding date. In the 13th century, Heidelberg became the seat of the Kurfürstentum Pfalz, the electorate of the Palatinate, establishing its political importance. In 1386, Heidelberg University was founded, making it the oldest university in Germany and establishing a long tradition of academia and cultural influence. During the 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648 and the War of Palatine Succession in 1689 to 1697, Heidelberg suffered extensive damage, including the destruction of the castle by French forces. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Heidelberg became a center of Romanticism, attracting poets, philosophers, and artists who celebrated its scenic beauty, historic castle, and intellectual life. During World War II, unlike many other German cities, Heidelberg escaped significant destruction, preserving much of its historic architecture. Today, it is a vibrant university city and popular tourist destination known for many landmarks, which we will visit on this tour. This statue here, up on the building, is perched. You'll likely encounter him several times while exploring Heidelberg, and I'll talk more about him once we get to the castle. Here we are at the Providenzkirche, a Protestant church built between between 1659 and 1661. It was completely destroyed in 1693 during the War of the Palatine Succession and then rebuilt between 1715 and 1721. The interior was completely remodeled in the late 19th century to create a lighter nave in the Renaissance Revival style. The church's organ is Heidelberg's oldest surviving organ dating back to 1885. Just a little further, we get to the Theater Heidelberg. The building dates back to 1853, but it has been extended and reconstructed several times since then. The cool part about this theater is that you can walk around the building and look through the windows to see different backstage areas such as the props department. Next we get to the Universitätsbibliothek, the University Library, and the Peterskirche, which are located right across from each other. The Peterskirche, or St. Peter's Church, is the oldest church in the old town of Heidelberg. It was the parish church of the city until the construction of the larger Church of the Holy Spirit in the 14th century, which we will visit shortly. After that, it has mainly served as the University Church of the University of Heidelberg, with some phases in between where it was Protestant and also Catholic at some point. Since 1896 it has consistently been the church of the university. The original appearance of the church is not known. In the late 15th century it was rebuilt in the late Gothic style and greatly expanded. After it burned down in the late 17th century and several rebuilding and renovation efforts, it ultimately became a three-aisle hall church in the neo-Gothic style. Only the choir, the old sacristy, and the University Chapel retained their medieval appearance. The Heidelberg University Library is the oldest and also one of the largest academic universal libraries in Germany. It's quite an impressive building which was being renovated while I was visiting, so unfortunately all the scaffolding was hiding its beauty. While you're here, make sure to go inside as well. But there's a warning, you might get lost. This is a massive library spanning over multiple floors, and the hallways and staircases make it somewhat feel like a labyrinth. Now let's check out the Heidelberg University. Here at the Universitätsplatz, the University Square, is another main area of the Christmas market. Heidelberg University is a public research university founded in 1386, making it Germany's oldest university and one of the world's oldest surviving universities. It was the third one established in the Holy Roman Empire after Prague and Vienna. The Heidelberg University is one of the most prestigious in Germany with 12 faculties. As of 2021, 57 Nobel Prize winners have been affiliated with the city of Heidelberg and 33 with the university itself. In the courtyard of the university you can see the Hexenturm, the Witch's Tower, which is the only remaining part of the city wall. The tower is called Hexenturm because it was used during the Middle Ages to imprison supposed witches. One place you should definitely visit while exploring the university area is the Studentenkarzer, located in the old university building. It was a student prison from the 1780s until 1914. This is quite the unique place to visit and I've never seen anything like it anywhere else. The university had autonomous jurisdiction over students for its first 500 years. Students were incarcerated for crimes such as disturbing the peace at night and other violations of public order. The incarcerated students wrote on the walls and even painted on the walls using improvised techniques. Preserving them today is a major challenge, which is why restorations are constantly ongoing. After exploring the prison, you can also visit the University Museum, which takes you on a journey through the history of Germany's oldest university. And then, another very cool place to see in this building is the Great Hall, the university's magnificent historic auditorium. Courses and lectures used to be held here. Its present design dates back to 1886 when it was redesigned to mark the university's 500th anniversary. Today, the Great Hall is mainly used for academic ceremonies. So what do you think this looks like? I gotta say, I was definitely getting Harry Potter vibes as soon as I stepped into this Great Hall. Right next to the university complex is the Jesuitenkirche, the Jesuit church. After Heidelberg was destroyed by the French in 1693, Elector Johann Wilhelm wanted to turn Heidelberg into a center of Catholic activity with the help of the Jesuits. Construction took decades due to Elector Johann Wilhelm dying and his brother and successor Karl Philipp deciding to move his residence and government to the nearby city Mannheim. Ultimately, thanks to the generosity of Elector Karl Theodor, construction resumed and was completed in 1759. After the abolition of the Jesuit order in 1773, it was taken over by the Lazarists and even served as a hospital at one point. Since 1809, it has been the parish church of the Catholic Community of the Holy Spirit. Now we continue along the Hauptstraße, the main street in the pedestrian zone. Here we see the Hotel zum Ritter St. Georg, a historic hotel located inside the oldest townhouse in Heidelberg dating back to 1592. The Renaissance facade is quite the spectacular sight to see. And then right across from the hotel is the Heiliggeistkirche, the Church of the Holy Spirit. As you can tell, this is a massive building and in fact it's the largest church in Heidelberg. It was constructed between 1398 and 1515 in the Romanesque and Gothic styles. Between 1 to 3 million guests visit annually, making it one of the most visited churches in Germany. The church had to be reconstructed and renovated multiple times over the years, mainly due to damage caused by wars. It was planned as the burial place of the electors of the Palatinate and as a representative church of the Palatinate royal seat. Most graves of the electors were destroyed during the Palatinate War of Succession in the late 17th century. Only the grave of the church's founder, Elector Ruprecht III, remains today. The congregation was originally Roman Catholic, but the church has changed denominations more than 10 times throughout its history. Today it's a parish church within the Evangelical Church of Heidelberg and is part of the Protestant Church in Germany, a federation of 20 Lutheran, Reformed and United Protestant regional churches, collectively encompassing the vast majority of the country's Protestants. On the east side of the church we get to the Marktplatz, the market square. On the other side of the square is the city hall, and the centerpiece is the Hercules fountain, built in the early 1700s to commemorate the enormous efforts made to rebuild the city after the devastation of the 30 Years' War. Besides being the place for the weekly market, in early centuries the square was also used for public trials of criminals. During the warmer months it's a great spot to sit outside and enjoy a drink, and during the winter season this is one of the main areas of the Heidelberg Christmas market. The Christmas market extends into this nearby city square, the Kornmarkt or Corn Market. In the center is a Mary column with 3 fountains dating back to 1718, and as you can tell, you can get a glimpse of the castle ruins up the hill, which is where we are headed next. You can either walk up to the castle, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes, or take the Bergbahn, a funicular railway. Most of the time I take the railway up and then walk back down. To get to the castle station with the railway, it only takes about a minute. Now, before we explore the castle, I want to mention that you can go even further up the hill to the Königstuhl, the city's highest point at more than 550 meters or 1800 feet. I would only do this if you have more than one day to explore Heidelberg. It would be too much to fit it all in one day. In comparison to the modern railway that you take up to the castle, to go all the way up to the Königstuhl, you switch railways at the Molkenkur transfer station to get onto this old historic funicular railway. Note that wait times can get long, especially on weekends. I recommend going early in the morning. It's really cool riding on the old railway. It kind of reminded me a bit of Angel's Flight in downtown Los Angeles, which you can check out in my downtown LA walking tour video. After about 10 minutes on the old railway, you get to the Königstuhl station. There's a little kiosk where you can grab a snack, and you can also check out the engine room of the railway. From up here you get some stunning views of Heidelberg, the Neckar River, and on a clear day you can even see as far as the Alsace region in France. Once you pass this hotel, to the left there is the Falconry Tinunculus. They put on educational shows twice a day from April through late October. Note that these shows are only offered in German. In addition, you can go hiking through the forest, and there is also the Märchenparadies, the fairy tale paradise, which is essentially a little theme park for kids in the middle of the forest. Alright, that's it for the Königstuhl, and now let's continue to the most popular site of Heidelberg, the castle. The Schloss Heidelberg, or Heidelberg Castle, attracts around 1 million visitors each year. After entering the complex, turn left, which leads us to the Artillery Garden. From here you get some great views of the old town of Heidelberg and the Neckar River. The rich and eventful history of the castle began when the Counts Palatine of the Rhine, later the Prince-Electors, established their residence in Heidelberg. The castle was first mentioned in 1225 and ultimately became one of the greatest castles of the Renaissance. This is the English wing, which Prince-Elector Friedrich V had built as a residence for Princess Elizabeth Stuart of England, whom he married in 1613. The tower on the west side of the English wing is called the Thick Tower, which Friedrich's predecessor, Ludwig V, had built. The walls are around 7 meters or 23 foot thick. Inside, he placed a 16-cornered room with large windows offering breathtaking views. The space was used for dining and celebrations of the electoral court, along with performances and concerts. As you can tell, the castle has been damaged over the years. In the late 17th century, it was destroyed by the French in the War of the Palatinate Succession, and these events are commemorated in a fireworks display held several times each year. More damage occurred in 1764. This time, 2 lightning strikes hit the castle and caught fire. Alright, now let's head to the castle courtyard, the heart of the complex. We passed the castle store, and if you walked up to the castle, this is where you buy tickets to enter the castle courtyard. That ticket also includes the railway back down to the city. Now, if you took the railway up, you do not need to purchase another ticket here, since access to the castle courtyard is included in the railway ticket. Note that you also have the option to go on a guided tour. You'll get to go inside different buildings, and the tours are offered in German and English. Now let's enter the courtyard via the bridge gateway and the gate tower. After entering, you see the Ruprechts wing to your left. This is the oldest surviving residential palace within the castle. It was built under King Ruprecht I, who ruled between 1400 and 1410. This building in the southeastern corner of the courtyard is the economy building with a well in front. The well water was used for cooking, as the building housed a bakehouse mainly used to make bread, along with the palace kitchen and food storing area. Today you can enjoy drinks and food at the Schloss Weinstube, the castle wine bar, and take in the special atmosphere and sights. On the east side of the courtyard, you see one of the most beautiful and oldest castle structures of the German Renaissance, the Otto-Heinrichs-Wing. As you can tell, a lot of detail went into the facade. The German Apothecary Museum has resided in the basement of this wing since 1958. The museum, which is included in the admission to the courtyard, offers insights into the history of pharmaceutics. To the left of the Otto-Heinrichs wing is the Hall of Glass, which was constructed by Prince-Elector Friedrich II in the mid-16th century. Its arcades, in the style of the Italian Renaissance, connect the 2 most beautiful buildings within the Heidelberg Castle: the Otto-Heinrichs wing we just saw, and the Friedrichs wing, another residential palace within the castle complex. Prince-Elector Friedrich IV had it built between 1601 and 1607. He let the stones of the facade speak by adding a lot of sculptures of his ancestors from the electoral family to demonstrate his claim to power. Now we walk through this passageway in the Friedrichs wing, which leads to the Great Terrace. From here, you once again get some spectacular views of the city. While we enjoy these views, I want to briefly mention how I was able to stay connected while traveling internationally. Before my trip to Germany, I did some research and came across this company Airalo. They offer eSIM cards for many international destinations. No need to go to a store, waste time, and get an expensive physical SIM card. You simply add the eSIM to your phone, and once activated, you are able to use data through that card. So you can use navigation apps, WhatsApp for messages and calls, browse social media, and so on. Best of all, they are super affordable. I only paid $6.50, and that was enough for my 2.5-week trip. I highly recommend using this product when traveling internationally. It worked great and is easy to use. Just make sure your phone is compatible with eSIM cards. Check the description below for a link and discount codes. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. After enjoying the views, look for the shoe-shaped imprint. It is said that a brave knight left his foot impression in the sandstone as he leaped from a window in the Friedrichswing. According to legend, a lady in waiting was entertaining a knight in one of the rooms inside the building. Someone discovered the couple, and the knight is said to have leaped from the window in desperation. The iron shoe of his armor left a deep impression in the sandstone on the Great Terrace. Another legend claims that the knight was forced to jump from the building due to a fire. From the Great Terrace, you also get the best view of the outside of the Barrel building. The Gothic windows installed when the building was constructed in the 16th century were out of fashion, and to this day it's a mystery why the builder chose to go with this style. Now we go back to the other side of the Friedrichswing to go inside the Barrel building. You'll immediately see some massive barrels, and then we get to the barrel of all barrels, the Great Heidelberg Tun, which holds 220,000 liters or 52,800 gallons of wine, making it the largest barrel in the world. You can walk around to see all angles of this massive barrel, which is actually the third one that was installed here. The first one was destroyed in the 30 Years' War. In 1664 it was replaced by another barrel before the current one was installed almost 100 years later. The platform above the barrel was likely used as a dance floor. During celebrations, wine was pumped through a pipe from the barrel to the neighboring ladies' wing and the King's Hall. They sure knew how to throw a party back in the day, and especially this guy, perched, who I mentioned earlier, was one of the main characters. So he was brought to Heidelberg from South Tyrol by Prince Elector Karl Philipp at the start of the 18th century. He entertained the court society with his pranks and jokes. He's also famous for his love of wine, and legend has it that he could empty the barrel in a single gulp. Surprisingly, he did not die as a result of drinking too much wine. Supposedly, an accidental consumption of a cup of water caused his death. Alright, now let's walk back out and leave the courtyard and head to the romantic palace garden. We passed this tower, which is attached to the economy building with the kitchen and food storage area. Gunpowder was stored in the tower, giving it the name Powder Tower. French mines destroyed the massive walls during the 9 Years' War in the 17th century. Since then, a third of the tower sits at the bottom of the stag pit. The garden, known as the Hortus Palatinus, was planned as an artistic masterpiece with staggered terraces, grottos, ornate waterbeds, and sculptures. Initially, not much effort was put into the garden grounds. In the 18th century, it mainly served as a vegetable garden, and in the following years, botanical rarities were planted to create an English landscape garden. The geometrically structured terraces of the garden were once considered by contemporaries to be the 8th wonder of the world. The large grotto in the southeast corner contained elaborate water features, and in front of the grotto is this large sandstone sculpture called Father Rhine. Here we get to the Scheffel Terrace. Once again, you get some nice views of the city and the river along with the castle itself. Now let's head back down to the city. As mentioned earlier, you can take the Funicular Railway, but there are also several walking paths you can take back to the Old Town. This time I took the path from the Scheffel Terrace. It takes about 10 minutes and you might see some bison like I did. Once you get back to the city, turn left onto the Hauptstraße, the main street. You'll pass two of Heidelberg's oldest student pubs, the historic Zum Roten Ochsen und Zum Seppel, established in 1703 and 1634 respectively. And then you get to the Karlsplatz, another town square with unobstructed views of the castle. During the winter months, the square transforms into a winter wonderland with an ice skating rink. Now we continue back towards the Church of the Holy Spirit, and this time we walk across the market square and then into the Steingasse, which leads to the Alte Brücke, the old bridge. This sandstone arch bridge crosses the Neckar River. It's the 9th bridge built on this site and was constructed in 1788 by Elector Karl Theodor. Besides the castle, this is one of the best known landmarks and tourist destinations in Heidelberg. Once you're in the middle of the bridge, turn around to look at the bridge gate and the castle in the background. It's a great spot for a photo. Once you walk back, look to the right to see a statue of a monkey holding a mirror. The original statue from the 15th century was destroyed during the 9 Years' War, and the current statue was erected in 1979. Below the monkey is a poem written in 1632. Why are you staring at me? Haven't you seen the old monkey of Heidelberg? Look around, there you will find many more of my kind. Local legend has it that rubbing the mirror brings good luck, rubbing the fingers ensures a return to Heidelberg, and the little bronze cast mice nearby bring fertility. Just a few steps from the bridge we get to this historic inn, the Schnookeloch, established in 1703, making it one of the oldest student restaurants in Heidelberg. Over the years, students left their mark on the tables. I was there for lunch, but in the evening hours it gets lively with piano music. Enjoy good German beers and local cuisine. If you've never had a proper German salad, I highly recommend getting one here. It was very, very good. Now let's walk through the Untere Straße, commonly referred to as Untere Gasse by locals. In this alley you find several bars and pubs. Growing up here, this is where I would party the night away. You'll definitely have a great time here. It does get crowded on weekends, so don't get here too late as the pubs fill up. From the Untere Gasse, we walk towards the river. Along the river, we pass the Marstall, which served as an armory for weapons and shelter for horses. You can go into the courtyard of the building, where you'll likely encounter many students as the building has been transformed into a student cafeteria. Just a little further along the Neckar River, you'll start seeing boats. This is where you can go on a river cruise, and across the street is the impressive Stadthalle building, a congress and cultural center of the old town. Now, to get back to the start of the tour, you can either continue along the river or back onto the Hauptstraße, the main street in the pedestrian zone. Thanks so much for joining me on this tour. I hope you had a great time, and now check out this walking tour. And with that, I say thank you and Dankeschön!